Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe. We have new content coming out daily. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you guys. Breaking today, we are now learning about Devon Archer's upcoming testimony. Devon Archer is set to testify before the House this week that Hunter would dial in his father on speakerphone during discussions with his overseas business clients. Now, this is similar to what Tony Bobulinski broke. Remember, in the fall of 2020, you weren't allowed to even talk about Tony Bobulinski. It was censored everywhere. The media ignored Tony Bobulinski. So now we have Bobulinski and Devon Archer. We have all these wire transfers. And now we have a criminal case that could potentially be built against Joe Biden. Miranda Devine has obtained an advanced copy of Archer's planned testimony. This is it just takes your breath away and how brazen these people are. This is not normal. Before we go any further, I have to stop myself. You cannot become desensitized to this type of behavior. You can't. This is not normal. This is not ordinary. This is not something that we should grow accustomed to. Prison, perp walks, and widespread investigations are necessary because of this. We have multiple pieces of evidence that United States policy was changed because of payments to the Bidens. Do not get used to this. Don't roll your eyes. Don't say, oh, this is just more Biden corruption. No, this is now an unprecedented window into how the American ruling class operates, what they do, how they get rich. I'm going to tell you bluntly what this is. This is not mincing of words. This is not hyperbole. This is not Charlie getting excited. This is treason, punishable by death. Period. Blake is really excited. Standing ovation. I'm using that word because they went after Donald Trump for quote unquote being a traitor for years, when in reality, they were projecting. These people have been selling out America for cash. Now, you might say, oh, Charlie, you're exaggerating, you're this. Let's just go through the facts, okay? If Devon Archer is telling the truth, which we have every reason to believe he is, this is not just some sort of fringe guy that stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. This is the closest business partner, best friend, or former best friend of Hunter. The amount of details involved in this testimony is extraordinary. Time, place, manner, setting. Listen to this. Archer is expected to testify that after dinner with the Burisma board at the Burj Al Arab Hotel in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, he and Hunter Biden traveled 6 miles north to the Four Seasons Resort, it's awfully specific, to have a drink with one of Hunter's friends. While they were sitting outside the bar, Vadim Posheresky, a senior Burisma executive, phoned to ask where they were because Burisma's owner, Mykola Zoshaletsky, needed to speak to Hunter urgently. Soon afterwards, the two Ukrainians joined Hunter and Archer at the Four Seasons bar, and Posheresky asked Hunter, can you ring your dad? Can you call Joe? At the time, it was early afternoon Friday in Washington, D.C. Hunter then called his father, put him on speakerphone, placed the phone on the table, and introduced the Ukrainians to Joe Biden by name as Nikolai and Vadim. He also said the words to the effect that the Burisma bigwigs were, quote, in need of our support. This phone call allegedly took place in December of 2015, while Biden was still vice president of the United States. This is not when Joe Biden did those weird 4 years off when he developed dementia. This is not when he was a quote-unquote free citizen. He was an office holder. He was the second in command. He was the president of the Senate. He was the vice president of the United States fielding business calls. And there's an obvious thing here that I'm going to talk about in a second, because this is a dark web of connection. Devon Archer might be giving us a window. And by the way, we've known this. We've known this. We've said it here. We've said it there. Now we have not just the smoking goods, not just the Zapruder film. You have the whole thing on camera, and the media says, nah. We're not going to let them get away with it. This is a full, nonstop, citizen-led full court press. If we allow them to get away with this, we allow them to get away with everything. It's the whole ball game. This cannot stand. Hunter needs to go in jail. Joe Biden needs to be tried for high crimes and misdemeanors. I have here a copy of the United States Constitution. They were like, oh, Donald Trump's a traitor for allowing a Saudi to stay at a hotel room for $900 a night. No. Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States, receiving business calls about Burisma. By the way, now we are funding a proxy war in Ukraine. All roads lead to Ukraine. Interesting. Over 24 phone calls that Devin Archer knows about while he was vice president of the United States. This is not just when he's a senator, some sort of lawmaker. No. Not to mention, Joe Biden had power. Can you guys get that clip? And albeit he fired him, the prosecutor clip. This all ties together now, this web. And by the way, let's just take a timeout. Thank you, House Republicans, for operating with urgency and speed. I'm underwhelmed by some of the stuff the House Republicans have done. This is great work. It's better than Paul Ryan. It's better than John Boehner. They're putting points on the board. This is a full court press operation. They deserve credit for it. I'll talk more about that in a second. The phone call took place in early December 2015. Timeout. The intel agencies had to have known this. International phone call. Every one of those calls is screened and monitored. They're spying on Donald Trump's campaign via, what's his face? Christopher Steele? Steele dossier? You're trying to tell me the intel agencies did not know? This means that there were dozens, if not hundreds of people in our government that were probably like, oh boy, here's another international call. You make any international call, especially, I don't know, when you're sitting with the heads of Burisma to the vice president of the United States, someone operating the switchboard is like, yeah, that's not right. Three months later, after these meetings and these phone calls, 3 days later, Biden flew to Ukraine to speak before the Ukrainian parliament. 3 days later. Phone call in Dubai, meeting with the Burisma bros, flies to Ukraine. 3 months later, Biden ordered Ukraine to fire the prosecutor, Viktor Shokin. And we have that clip. You guys all know it. We'll play it again. Who was investigating Burisma, or else he would get the United States to withhold $1 billion worth of aid. Ukraine obeyed. Now Joe Biden has always insisted that he had zero contact with any of Hunter Biden's associates. Liar, 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 liar. We know he's a liar. He's a bad guy. I had it out with this Republican this weekend saying, oh, Charlie, we got to lay off Joe. He's good old Joe. He's actually pretty. I lost it. I'll be honest. I absolutely lost it. This kind of conditioning that Republicans have that Joe Biden is good old Scranton Joe. Joe's entire persona is a scam. He's a professional politician. He wears camouflage to act as if he's this ethical person. It's cultivated crap. For far too long, we've played patty cake. Oh, Joe's this really nice guy. Lady Graham. You can get the clip with Lady Graham. I really like working with Joe Biden because he, like me, wants to invade 112 countries simultaneously. He is a bad person. By the way, maybe we should stop doing deals. Stop funding his government. Shut down the government. Impeach the traitor. I'm so sick of this crap. We have IRS whistleblowers. Hunter Biden invoked his father directly. And now we know for certain United States policy was for sale. It's one thing if you're kind of for sale for intro and for access. That's called DC. They do that over lunch. That's bad. It's disgusting. It's wrong. It's like really kind of filthy. This is, I will change American policy if you pay me. Makes Benedict Arnold look like Mother Teresa.